Three-body problem. Does the dark forest theory solve the Fermi paradox? This is on the conversation by Tony McGillen. We have no good reason to believe that aliens have ever contacted Earth. Sure, there are conspiracy theories and some rather strange reports about harm to cattle, but nothing credible. Physicist Enrico Fermi found this odd, and he formulated the puzzle proposing in the 1950s and now known as the Fermi paradox, asking the question, where is everybody, referring to where are all the extraterrestrials, is still key to the search for extraterrestrial life, SETI, and messaging by sending signals into space, METI. The Earth is about 4.5 billion years old, and life is at least 3.5 billion years old. The paradox states that, given the scale of the universe, favorable conditions for life are likely to have occurred many, many times. So where is everybody? We may have good reasons to believe that there must be life somewhere out there, but nobody has come to call us. This is an issue that the character Ye Wenji wrestles with in the first episode of Netflix Three-Body Problem. Working, and I saw it recently, and it was quite good. I'm sure there'll be more episodes continuing. Now, working at a radio observatory, she finally does receive a message from a member of an alien civilization telling her they are a pacifist and urging her not to respond to the message or Earth will be attacked. But what does she do? She responds to them. The series will ultimately offer a detailed, elegant solution to the Fermi paradox, but we will have to wait until the second season. Or you can read the second book in Chi Jin Yu's series, The Dark Forest. Without spoilers, explanations set out in the book runs as follows. The universe is a dark forest. Every civilization is an armed hunter, stalking through the trees like a ghost, gently pushing aside branches that block the path and trying to tread without a sound. Ultimately, everybody is hiding from everyone else. Differential rates of technological progress make an ongoing balance of power impossible, leaving the most rapidly progressing civilizations in a position to wipe out anyone else. In this ever-threatening environment, those who play the survival game best are the ones who survive longest. We've joined a game which has been going on before our arrival, and the strategy that everyone has learned is to hide. Nobody who knows the game will be foolish enough to contact anyone or to respond to a message. Liu has depicted what he calls the worst of all possible universes, continuing a trend with Chinese science fiction. He is not saying that our universe is an actual dark forest with one survival strategy of silence and predation prevailing everywhere, but that such a universe is possible and interesting. Liu's dark forest theory is also sufficiently plausible to have reinforced a trend in the scientific discussion in the West, away from worries about mutual incomprehensibility and towards concerns about direct threat. We can see the potential influence in the protocol for what to do on first contact that was proposed in 2020 by the prominent astrobiologist Kelly Smith and John Traffigan. First, do nothing, they conclude, because doing something could lead to disaster. In the case of alien contact, Earth should be notified using pre-established signaling rather than anything improvised, they argue, and we should avoid doing anything that might disclose information about who we are. Defensive behavior would show our familiarity with conflict, so that would not be a good idea. Returning messages would give away the location of Earth, also a bad idea. Again, the Smith and Traffigan thought is not that the dark forces theory is correct. Benevolent aliens really could be out there. The thought is simply that first contact would involve a high civilization level risk. This is different from assumptions from a great deal of Russian literature about space of the Soviet era, which suggested that advanced civilizations would necessarily have progressed beyond conflict and would therefore share a comradely attitude. And this no longer seems to be regarded as a plausible guide to protocols for contact. Misinterpreting Darwin. The interesting thing is that the dark forest theory is almost certainly wrong, or at least it's wrong in our universe. It sets up a scenario in which there is a Darwinian process of natural selection, a competition for survival. Charles Darwin's account of competition for survival is evidence-based. By contrast, we have absolutely no evidence about alien behavior or about competition within or between other civilizations. This makes for entertaining guessworking rather than good science, even if we accept the idea that natural selection could operate at a group level, at the level of civilizations. And even if you were to assume the universe did operate in accordance with Darwinian evolution, the argument is questionable. No actual forest is like the dark one. They are noisy places where coevolution occurs. Creatures evolve together in mutual interdependence and not alone. Parasites depend upon hosts. Flowers depend upon birds for pollination. Every creature in a forest depends upon insects. Mutual connection does lead to encounters which are nasty, brutish, and short, but it also takes other forms. That is how forests in our world work. Interestingly, Liu acknowledges this interdependence as a counterpoint to the dark forest theory. The viewer and the reader are told specifically repeatedly that in nature nothing exists alone. A quote from Rachel Carson's Silent Spring, 1962. That is a text which tells us that bugs can be our friends and not our enemies. In Liu's story, this is used to explain why some humans immediately go over to this side of the aliens and why the urge to make contact is so strong in spite of all the risks. Yet when G ultimately replies to the alien warning, the Carson allusions do not reinstate the old Russian idea that aliens will be advanced and therefore comradely, but they do help to paint a more varied and realistic picture than the dark forest theory. And for this reason, the dark forest solution to the Fermi paradox is unconvincing. The fact that we do not hear anyone is just as likely to indicate that they are too far off, or we're listening all in the wrong ways, or else that there is no forest and nothing else to be heard. This is from the conversation here under Creative Commons by Tony Milligan, Research Fellow in Philosophy of Ethics, Cosmology, Visionary Projects, King College, London, on Science Alert. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.